All right, thank you for staying with the Monday Report. Let's have that conversation on President William Ruto's 1 year in office and the review. We'd like to hear from you at Trevor Mbija at Citizen TV Kenya. Use the hashtag Monday Report. My guests are still with me, Professor Gitile Naituli, governance expert, and Joe Halende, advocate of the High Court. Asante sana for making time. Before we went for the break, Professor had scored President William Ruto at a C-. You gave him an A, and the prof was saying that you are not being honest with the president, the people around the president, that you're not telling him the truth, that things are bad. Is that a criticism you're willing to take? But then the other question is, when you said that the economy is stable, which parameters are you looking at?
The parameters that I'm using to say that so far the president has performed is we need to go back and look at what the president promised Kenyans during the 2022 election. First, he promised Kenyans that he's going to stabilize the economy. 2, he was going to change the way we do politics. We move from the politics of deceit and conmanship to politics where people are honest and genuine. And 3, he promised that we are going to have good governance where the rule of law prevail and the constitutional order is brought back. Let's go to good governance and rule of law. When the president came into power, first, he started by appointing the 6 judges whom Uhuru had failed to appoint. 2, he disbanded the rogue DCI unit that was committing extrajudicial killing in this country. 3, he gave the financial independence to police, financial independence to judiciary, so that institutions, we can respect our institutions and our institution can get that independence so that they can perform their constitutional mandate. If you are to talk about economic stabilization, first, the president reverted us as a country from subsidizing consumption to subsidizing production. When we stopped the subsidy that was going directly to fuel and the subsidies was going directly to flour. 2, the president managed to help, as we speak today, Kenyan government knows 5 million Kenyan farmers who are registered through a digital platform. That was the first step. The second step was to subsidize fertilizer, which was 7,000 then immediately it moved to 3,000 and 3,500. As we speak now, fertilizer is at 2,500. As we speak, the ripple effect of subsidizing production today, Trevor, I can assure you, yesterday I sent my auntie some money in the village in Busia. She told me she bought unga gorogoro at the border Busia at 100 shilling. By then in 2022, it was 180, it was going to 230. So we can see the ripple effect of subsidizing production and not consumption is that at the end of the day, the cost of living in certain commodities, we can see they are gradually going down.
So has the cost of living gone down?
We cannot put a blanket statement that the cost of living has gone down.
So has it gone down?
But we can say commodities that total into cost of living, some commodities. Unga has gone down. If you are to look at oil, cooking oil, cooking oil as we speak today, fresh fry has moved from 1,095 to 7,049 shillings. So to 749 shillings. So you can see commodities that are being worked on one by one. Things are going down. So that's why I've said we cannot say that we have reduced the cost of living. And you cannot say that the economy has improved, but the economy has been stabilized so that we can now move from from where we are now going ahead.
So, Prof, should the president just be given a little more time, like based on how Joe is arguing this?
There is no amount of time that the president needs in order to fix the economy. You start fixing the economy, then you put the Bible down. So, and this is what happens with any economy. Economy is built by positive thinking of the population, not even investment. Because that positive thinking, things will be better tomorrow, attracts direct foreign investment. He makes the Kenyans also invest, the people, because they can see a clear roadmap to prosperity. so that they put their money there. So when my friend argues here that the president is in the subsidized production, my question is which one? Because subsidizing farmers, you haven't subsidized production at all. And in any case, the fertilizer he's talking about is 70% of the input. So, you know, you couldn't also be right that the Ngorogoro is 100 shillings somewhere, but that is expected when you are harvesting.
Yeah.
What will happen eventually is that that may not actually translate in the cities because they have the inputs to delivering that Ngorogoro to your house in the city, because the transport cost, labor cost, all those filter in. So I think the president should have stuck to his guns of refusing to subsidize anything and allow the market to set the price. What he should have done, in simple, is to remove all the cartels surrounding agricultural inputs.
Yeah.
Okay, wage a real war against those people. Allow the market to set the price. Even if prices were to go up, allow them to go up. But remove subsidy completely, because subsidies never work.
Okay.
But you see now, the other day I was surprised the subsidies back on fuel. Okay? And they were, what, if I remember the president, the explanation is the former government were just subsidizing their own companies. So can we argue at the same time now that the UND had the time to form their own companies, and now they have started subsidizing them?
Okay.
Because we were convinced that subsidies were wrong, and I agreed with the president 100%. But now, the fuel subsidy back, the fertilizer subsidy, which I think should never be there anyway, if you ask me. No, if you ask me, I wouldn't recommend any subsidy at all. I recommend that you dismantle corruption in networks pertaining to agricultural inputs. Because also there has been a lot of imports here. When you import anything, you are exporting labor. So the first port of call for a government that is in office was to reduce imports and to import only when it is absolutely necessary. But again, that has not happened.
Let's review his cabinet now. For example, the cabinet appointments, the people are saying that it's a mixture of bureaucrats and politicians. How would you rate their performance so far 1 year down the line?
If I can rate the cabinet out of 10, I will give them 7. Yes, the cabinet has really tried. And one thing that we must keep in mind, Trevor, like I started, the president had the opportunity to hold the country together so that we can remain a country called Kenya, a nation called Kenya, and transition from the previous administration to the new administration, keeping in mind that we had an opposition that was marching on the streets. Today, as we speak now, the opposition is at Bomas doing their things there, which they like, and it is within their right to do them. But the president managed to hold this country together. And remember, he promised Kenyans that he is going to ensure that we change our way of doing politics from the politics of conmanship and the politics of deceit, where today you enter an MOU, tomorrow that MOU is thrown out.
Have these appointments been skewed?
On one side, the president had to balance, and the president had the discretion to appoint those people and to balance the interest that was there. So he managed to accommodate everybody in his cabinet and make sure that there's regional balance, there's gender balance, there's everything within that, so that he can be able to appoint his cabinet.
So you think, Joe, that if the cabinet is balanced,
yes,
the 2/3 gender balance?
Not 2/3. How he managed to bring in the gender balance was to add advisors, the 2 advisors, that is Monica Juma and the lady from Vihiga.
But it's clear, Joe, that
to represent the gender
is not balanced. This is something that is out in the public domain.
To meet the 2/3, it does not work. But if you are to compare, as in, what I'm trying to say, Trevor, is this. In all the factors that were on his table, so that he can be able to achieve a cabinet that can hold this country together.
Yeah.
He has done.
But you do remember also during his campaign, he said he would be 50-50.
Yes.
This is a promise.
But when you look at the cabinet, you must also look plus the PSS. You must add in the PSS.
Okay.
Because they hold that, and the two advisors have been given a portfolio of that of a cabinet secretary.
All right, Prof,
so that he can be able to...
in terms of the cabinet performance.
You know, what is very strange about this country?
Yeah.
The American invented the lie detector. It's a machine that is about to tell whether you are lying or not by the way you react to questions being put to you. I think very few Kenyans will refer to a lie detector. Because the reason is this. If you are telling a lie and you believe it's the truth, then you can't, you will pass the lie detector. So, I'll tell you how I would have made this cabinet if I'm the one making it.
Yeah.
First, I would have under 14 cabinet because we are saying the economy is bad, so you don't need a big government. You need a small one because these people need to work. So I would have cabinet of 14. And they will come from 14 counties. And then our principal secretaries, 14. And the counties that produce the cabinet secretary cannot produce the principal secretary. So I will have 22, a government of 22 representing the face of Kenya. That is why I want to answer that question.
So you don't think it's balanced as it is right now? Okay, let's talk about that another thing then, because you're running out of time.
Prof, you have given a formula how you have appointed your cabinet. But bear in mind, we are operating in a political field. In a political landscape, where you know, in politics is give and take, and some of these positions are negotiated basis on votes. You know what you need to tell my friend here? When you are a leader, you want to lead and you want to explain to Kenyans that Article 232 is a lawyer. You told me as a lawyer. Article 232 and Article 10 both are heavy on regional balance, on diversity, on inclusiveness. Okay, so all those factors.
So what I'm saying now, considering those, you will explain the Kenyans that you need to obey the law. Okay, and they need to understand that. But more important, they need to understand that you cannot move the economy 1 inch unless you control government expenditure. So you tell them, look, I will give you a Kenyan cabinet. I will give you 14 from 14 counties. I will give you principal secretaries 14 from the counties that did not produce. Now, the point is this. Kenyans, so
you don't see any austerity that has been put in government? No,
there's no austerity. And the Kenyans are not really foolish. They know that when you get a job for you and your family. So what you are looking as a Kenyan is your performance, not which tribe or whatever it is you are supposed to come. Okay? But of course, now the perception my colleague here is, Wakili is proposing to take care of that. You will get them best from every county. And I can tell you, me, I saw a good cabinet. The Kibaki cabinet was who is who in Kenya. You have Professor Saitoti in education, you and Mother Karua in the justice, you and Professor Nyang Nyong in planning, of course you and Raila Odinga in roads. So, and that in government is probably, arguably, the only government that delivered for the people of Kenya. So in fact, when me hear people talking about Andy Sheikh or whatever, I don't know what they're talking about, because the government that delivered for the Kenyans was actually the Nusu Mukate government. It is the one who gave us all these roads. It is the government that fixed an economy that was worse than what William Ruto inherited, arguably worse. So, my friend, when you are the president, you explain what you are doing, and I can tell you people would have listened to President Ruto. When Ruto was the candidate, the Kenyans show him, they show him as the knight in shining armor, who is going to save us from 60 years of domination by the dynasties. So anything that you would have told the Kenyans, they would have listened. So don't give the excuse of political appeasement, because William Ruto did not need that. He had become and brand.
Okay.
During the campaign. So he never required any appeasement from anybody.
Okay.
We just would have given this country the best the country would have produced.
Okay, so going forward, Joe, what would you recommend to the president? Because it's been 1 year, we're looking into the second year now. What are the areas that he needs to tighten his belt on?
First is to fix the government excesses and wastages. 2, to fight corruption. 3, to continue with the policies and the agenda that he has for the agriculture sector. And 3, to seriously fix the health sector. And to finalize on it, he needs to deal with the cartels within the sugar industry and the cartels within the energy sector. Then this country will just move in a correct and the perfect trajectory.
Okay. Prof, what are the areas he needs to work on as we wind
I
up?
think I really want to support this friend. I think the president needs to work on energy.
Yeah.
He needs to ruthlessly dismantle the so-called independent power producers. The country does not need those fellows. Okay. We are producing enough power in the geothermal to run our affairs, because that is a program of which the Kenyan government is robbing its own citizens in order to transfer money to individuals who, for whatever reason, the government seems to like. The IPPs is a disaster for this country, need to go. So we need to get a handle on energy so that we can increase production. Production will lead to creation of jobs. That has to be done. The other one is just remove subsidies on agriculture and stop talking about the fertilizer.
Yeah.
Because by December, the prices will still go up again.
Okay.
Dismantle the cartels around agriculture. Because I know of a company in Nakuru that is importing 90% of its input from Uganda and Tanzania. Okay?
Yeah.
The one you are talking about now, which is making the mafuta ile mnasema imeenda chini.
Yeah.
So we need to have a comprehensive policy that makes us competitive, regionally and internationally.
Yeah.
And then he needs to deal with the waste in government. You cannot have a situation where the ministers cannot go to Kiambu in a car. They must go in an helicopter or Naivasha. Okay, you have to remember what the Kebake did.
Yeah.
Kebake said we must control, we don't need these gasolas, the economy is banned, and recommended 2,000 cc. That's the idea of the Passats.
Yeah.
He need to get there. He need to get to the point where Kebake said any foreign trip, I'm going to approve personally. You remember something we have been saying on the social media, that from Magueni, the MCAs go to Israel to be told that what we are practicing here, we learned it in Magueni. You understand?
Yeah.
So, having said that, I would like the president to do this.
Yeah.
All his ministers, his government, to calculate the per diem they can earn for a year in foreign trips. Then he pay them that money as a grant, so that the country can save the money you buy tickets, air tickets.
Yeah.
The money you go to promote international hotels. Because most of these trips, people simply go in order to access the per diem. So why can't we just give them the per diem and then we are able to save the rest of the money, the air tickets and the hotels?
And what about in the education sector? Because I know now that's where your area is. Are those reforms satisfactory?
No, they are not. I think when you look at the education sector, what is surprising me is whether there was actually a lawyer in that team. Because when you look at the recommendations, even the recommendations about the TSE is a Chapter 15 commission.
Yeah.
So you can't remove functions and send them to the ministry there. Okay, the law simply doesn't allow. Now, when you look at the recommendation on education, you have to look at Article 27. Article 27 is about Article 1 that declares all Kenyans equal before the law and entitled to equal benefit of the law. And then to have, that is subsection 1, look at 4. The state shall not discriminate based on birth or social. There is, of course, other things in there. So the system that categorizes Kenyans these children coming, well, I shouldn't call them children because university and they made handouts.
Yeah.
So when you categorize these handouts, and according to that category, you confer state benefits, you are breaching that article. I'm surprised.
Discrimination already.
It's a discrimination already.
Yeah.
Because also the country cannot have rich or poor children accessing education because there is no law forcing me to educate my children. And my wealth is not my children's wealth. So the state cannot deny my child access to higher education because allegedly I'm rich.
Yeah.
You understand?
Okay.
So I don't understand why anybody recommended that to the president.
Okay.
Because what this tells me is these people are victims of the International Monetary Fund policy they have been pushing for Africa for the last 28 years. They have been arguing that the returns to labor or returns, the benefit returns from higher education in Africa is less than the returns from basic education. So concentrate on basic education.
Okay.
So what we are doing is implementing this policy. I think they intended to think this system through. And it's going to be clear within 1 year. First, they are going to report. They have reported, right? And then you will start people dropping out. Because I know what happens with high-cost schools.
Okay.
With high-cost schools, I took my children to Greenstead International School. I have never seen that any of that class from standard 1 to Form 6, which exceeded 80 children. Sometimes they will be 14 and drop back to 7 or 8, and sometimes 4. So I don't know how this system, we have embraced it the way we have done it. Also, in our country, where corruption is a national religion, you do not introduce a system where I have to decide as a Kenyan whether I should classify you as in India or not in India or less in India or whatever, because you know what happens with the CNDF. Who get the CNDF? Is it not the desperately poor who really need it? It is those who campaigned for the MP, MP relatives, and those who can influence the member of parliament. The same thing is very likely to happen here.
Okay. Joe, very briefly.
But as a professor is castigating the recommendations within the education sector, I would like to note the positive within the education sector. And one is the president promised to employ teachers. He has done that. Over 50,000 teachers have been employed. He promised to increase the funding for the university. And he has promised in the next budget, he will move the university funding from 44 billion to 88 billion, TVET from 5 billion to 10 billion. Now, this is the question that I need to throw back to the good professor, is that the education sector stakeholder were given an opportunity through the task force to look at, to evaluate our education system. They went throughout the whole process and gave recommendation. Professor, as a stakeholder within the education system, I believe that you are part and parcel of the process. So, and the recommendation and the outcome of the process is part and parcel of what you people proposed to us. Because what the president did, he threw it back to the people within the education sector. So the proposal in the within the president's desk are from the stakeholders within.
So it was their recommendation.
I want to answer him very quickly, but just before I answer him on education, there's something is in here, 44 billion to 48 billion, right? This is what is wrong with this country. Did you look at the current budget? What was budgeted for parliament? 40-something billion for about 365 people. Do you understand? And then the whole education system is getting the same budget. So where is our priority now? I want to tell you this. I think people did make a presentation, and I think that the committee of very eminent Kenyans dissent, because they actually opened the report. And then they were told, go back. Because the report didn't have what was required. So, and I'm very sure you are aware of that.
Okay.
So this is why I'm saying that I think we need to solve up and realize that the transactional leadership style we have cultivated for Kenya, it will never serve this country. We need transformational leadership, which instead of looking at election, which is what transactional leaders do, and the personal benefit, we look at the next generation, which is what transformational leadership is all about. Okay. That the benefit may not be available right now for me as a person making the decision, but at least they will be there for my grandchildren and their grandchildren. Okay. So we need to transit from this idea of personal benefits. Okay. That would involve the changes you are seeing here. Changes in education, we have changed 3 times. UK, where we got theirs, they have never changed. Tanzania has never changed. Uganda has never changed. We are even changing police uniform. What was wrong with, with the uniform? Transactional leadership. Okay. Everybody must benefit from, we follow the Bible to the letter. You eat everywhere you work at. Yeah? Okay. So,
gentlemen, we have to leave it there because we run out of time. Professor Kitile Naituli, governance expert, and Joe Halende, advocate of the High Court, will delve into this more comprehensively on Wednesday on The Big Conversation. We're reviewing President William Ruto's 1 year in office. It will be exactly 1 year on the 13th. All right, when people we still want to hear your views on this. So taking a quick break here on Monday Report. When we come back, I'll go through some of your feedback and then call it a night. All right? See you.
We know times are tough, so save money by buying airtime from M-Pesa to any network with 0 transaction fees. Dial *487*2# and get your airtime PAP with 0 transaction costs.
For many people, buying land or a house is one of the biggest investments and achievements they can make. But it is also an emotive decision that can sometimes lead to one burning their fingers. How can you avoid the common and not so common mistakes that come with real estate investment? For the 2nd edition of Citizen Digital Book Club, we review the book The 7 Rules of Real Estate Investment by Construction Project Manager National Koa. Listen in to Citizen Digital X Spaces this Tuesday at 7 p.m. and learn why location matters and the reasons why due diligence is much more than a property search. Hosted by Claire Munde.
Proper disposal. Make sure to dispose of used diapers in a hygienic manner. You can wrap them up and place them in a sealed plastic bag before throwing them away.
New Soft Care Space Series is rooted from space technology. Keeps you dry and comfortable for 12 hours long.
Soft Care. Protect your leap.
Tumeanza kupiga break kuongezeka kwa gharama ya maisha. The next couple of months, the dollars will come, the exchange rate will come below 120 shillings.
Hiyo mtungi itatoka shilingi 2,800 mpaka shilingi 500 ama 300.
As a country, we can buy fuel in Kenya shillings.
On Wednesday, 13th September 2023, Ruto in a year. The Big Conversation from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. on Citizen TV, Ramogi TV, Inoro TV, Citizen Digital, Radio Citizen, and View Sasa.
right, let's see what you're saying really quick before we call it a night here. Trevor Mbiji at Citizen TV Kenya is the hashtag Monday Report. Martin says, His Excellency, the President has a big vision for this country, but he wants the transformation to happen overnight. You should work through ministries and not to be seen doing everything. Okay, let's pick a last one here real quick. Okelo Mwalimu says, as long as presidential term limits remain 2 5-year terms, we shouldn't expect president in first term to be blind to demands from his backyard. Appointment of state officers will continue to favor president's backyard. Even handshake happened in the second term. Okay. All right, that's how we leave it for now. Thank you so much for staying with Monday Report. We'll have a more comprehensive conversation on Wednesday on The Big Conversation. Keep it right here on Citizen TV. On behalf of the entire team that made this possible, say good night and God bless.